I saw a sentence and it said, when the mind calms, the soul awakens. I believe blindly that everything starts and ends here, just in your mind. And it is really not easy for me to control my thoughts. I have always to remind myself of those things. I have always to remind myself to be conscious, to be aware of my thoughts. Otherwise, they will control my life and I will become living on autopilot. I'm not naturally a person who is not an overthinker. I'm naturally an overthinker. So recently, my life has been on a routine, which is going to work, coming back home at 6:37, eating dinner, chilling for some time, sleeping, repeat. And I'm not complaining, but when my life is like that and I stop being creative, or I stop having this time for myself where I can just reflect a lot, because I really am a person who needs a lot of time for themselves. I need a lot of time to talk to myself, to discuss everything that's going on in my life and in my mind and in my mental health, in order to be able to have this clarity and have this peace. And lately I was not having all those things. And when I was at work, I realized something. My colleague was talking to me and I could not even listen to her. I cannot hear what she's saying. I was just in my mind because I was so lost in my thoughts that I cannot even be present. And I was looking at her and I was watching her mouth moving and she was saying something, but I was not paying attention. I could not pay attention at all. And I came back home and I was like, no, this needs to stop. And in today's video, I will talk about this basically because I need to remind myself, and I need to remind you, if you want someone to remind you, of how important it is to be conscious and to be aware. If you really want to control or take control of your life or of your mind, you have to visualize your life as a third person. Like there is an eye outside of your mind and it's watching you. It's watching even over your thoughts. And this is very clever, and I have been trying lately very hard to do this and to practice this, and it's really working. It's really working. In the beginning it was very difficult, but now it's getting better and I'm so happy. So whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel lost in your thoughts, don't surrender. Don't let this force push you from the present moment. Be aware instantly. Remind yourself in the exact same moment. Come back to the present. Come back to this moment. I'm here right now. Remind yourself, I'm here. I'm not in the future. I'm not in the past. I'm right here. Everything's okay. And then whatever thoughts are coming in your mind, try to visualize them as a third person. Like they are not you. They are your thoughts, but they are not you. They do not define you. As if you're watching a movie. I know that it sounds very basic or very superficial, but it's very important and it's very deep and it really helps. Overthinking is something that is not easy to handle because our minds are shaped in ways that it is not impossible to change, but it's not easy. And you have to be very determined and you have to be very consistent. You have to be very much aware and conscious and persistent to do the change. But is it worth it? Of course it is. Of course it is. And that's why you have to have this will. You have to put it, to plant it inside of your mind and try as hard as you can. I'm not saying that you will not fall down or that you will not have bad moments or relapses, but try as hard as you can and remind yourself as much as you can to get back to your goal, which is the good habits that you will attain in order to reach a level where you can control your mind or control your thoughts to some extent. Again, traumas shape our brains. Life events, they shape our brains. If you look at the brains of different people who had different events in their lives or who have been traumatized in some ways, or a person who was traumatized, something happened to them that traumatized them, such as war, for example, or someone who hadn't, you will see anatomically differences in their brains. You will see it in a lot of parts in the brain, but you will also see changes that people made after deciding to do some things on a prolonged period of times. After deciding to, for example, reduce negative thoughts, to understand themselves in order to reduce their anxiety levels, their stress levels, their fear, all those bad emotions that they have. If they work really hard to let go of those emotions, not totally, or not let go, but I would say to be able how to handle them differently, how to look at them as a third person again, you will see that their minds change. Our minds are flexible. I don't know if you have ever heard of the term neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? It's basically, I will try to put it into words. Neuroplasticity is strengthening or weakening the connections between the neurons inside of your brain, depending on firing those connections. And how do we fire those connections? By thinking certain thoughts or doing certain actions. So again, by thinking certain thoughts or doing certain actions, we enhance those connections, and those connections become stronger, which is called long-term potentiation, LTP. Anyway, and the opposite is when we stop doing certain thing, or we stop thinking certain thought, or we stop reacting in a certain way to a certain thought, certain connections in the brain weakens until they fade away. And that's how the brain is very flexible, and it can reshape itself. Not very quickly, of course, not very easily, but it can do it. And this is where the change should happen and must happen. Is it worth it? Again, yes, it is. Only if you want a happy life, only if you want a good life, only if you want to reach your full potential, because that's healing. And I believe that healing is a very long process, but the longer you proceed with healing, the closer you are to reach your full potential. And that's the goal of life. That's the goal of us as human beings, to reach our full potentials, no matter what it is. Maybe it is just to be happy, maybe it is to help people, maybe it is to just exist and do nothing, maybe it is peace, just to live with peace. That's your full potential. Actually, this is one of the most important things that most people struggle to have. Everything starts in your mind. Every creation ever done, every invention, everything was just a thought. If you only realize this, if you only realize how important this mind is, how important our thoughts are. Maybe you know, but you forget, like me. I know, but I keep forgetting, and I keep going back to the old negative patterns of mental diarrhea, or of letting my mind run without even realizing, without even being aware and conscious. So you know, but you have to remind yourself all the time. Every time you feel anxious, every time you feel like you're not taking control of your life, there's something going wrong. I'm not being present. I'm not being here. I'm not feeling okay. I'm not feeling at peace. It's always your thoughts. It's always your mind. Realize it, be aware, and be conscious of it as soon as possible. And little by little, you will for sure become better and the change will happen. And another thing that I want to say is never ever ever underestimate the simple things of your daily lives. For example, meditation. The very small habits that are really helpful, never underestimate them. These are what makes your day. When you feel good, for example, when you have a good period of time, don't think that, okay, now I'm good, then I will stop meditating because I'm feeling good. Or I will go back to a bad habit that I have, such as, for me, it was looking at my phone immediately when I wake up. This is something very bad, and I stopped. I really stopped recently to do that. So those very small habits, do not ever underestimate them, because they are what actually form and shape your everyday life. It starts with very small things, and stick to them. Stick to those good habits that you think are helpful for you. For me, for example, reading, meditating, journaling, waking up a bit early and not looking at my phone when I wake up for at least half an hour, at least even more, looking at sunsets and sunrises, breathing techniques, all those things. Sometimes I just forget about everything and I just start running, especially when as I said in the beginning of the video, when I do not reflect, when I'm running, when my life is just running and I do not stop and everything is very fast, I forget about all those things, all those good habits, and then I cannot control my mind anymore. So my advice to you is never ever underestimate those things. Affirmations, I don't know what works for you exactly, but those things usually work. Working out, if you feel that you are, for example, in a good shape now, okay, that's it, I will stop working out, or I will stop eating healthy. No. Stick to your good habits, stick to them, even if you let go for some time, but always come back to them. Make a morning routine, a night routine for yourself that really suits you and that you really feel realistic, and stick to it. Another thing that I want to say is try to romanticize things. Every day, try to look for small moments of joy. For even when you want to cook, try to cook with love. If you want to drink your cup of coffee, choose the aesthetics cup of coffee, romanticize it, feel it, smell it, appreciate it. Take a moment to appreciate everything in your daily life, and that's how you can become more present and more aware and conscious of the present moment. Try to make aesthetics that you like in a budget that you have. For example, if you go to work every day, try to make the work a better place. Put things that you like in your office, or buy a new cute bag that it might not be very expensive. I don't know, the simplest things that you can do them, because they do a difference. Try to plan, try to have a planner for every day. Those things make the bad things better or the hard moments less hard. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know guys if you are a person who struggles to stop thinking, who cannot really be present unless you are really aware of it. Let me know if you are living on autopilot or not. I really want to know how many people are like this, if there are a lot of people like this. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.